Monica working
I
today.
have certain skills in my survival.
Hey y'all. Welcome to the accountability call. We are on number 40 today. We didn't
Big
hit the
four.
book. Okay. 40. We are here, honey, to talk about the things that we have to do, the things we want to do, and how we're going to get them done, hold each other accountable because life be life. Okay. How are you ladies?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. That's all I got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm all right. It's Monday. My last 7, 8 days in Ghana, so feeling very bittersweet.
Yes.
Time went by very fast.
Back to these ununited states, okay?
Hello.
Honey, come on back to them, honey. They still
Hmm.
ain't united. We still here.
Yes.
I am feeling good. I'm a little tired, but not a lot. I'm excited because my children are in summer camp and I was on summer break, which means stay at home mom mode all last week. And baby, as I've been saying all week, toddlers put the hood in motherhood, okay?
Very ghetto. Do not recommend.
It is ghetto over here on this part at this stage, okay?
Oh, wow.
So I am free. Praise the Lord, I am free, no longer bound, okay? And I'm excited about it. Did y'all learn anything last week that you want to share? I know what I learned. Okay, let me tell you. So,
Mm-hmm.
I have a family chat with myself, my husband, my brothers, my mother, my father. And a couple of weeks ago, I told them I found a reel on Instagram, and it was talking about how there are some really important skills for families to learn in order to, be able to be more connected and just mesh more. And one of them was communication, right?
Hello.
One was like emotional intelligence, like these are things. So I was like, I sent it to them. I was like, this is, and what they were saying is, you need, we suggest you learn these skills while you can, right? So I was like, y'all are down with it. Like we can learn these skills together. I'm gonna send some videos in the chat that I find, because I'm interested in learning more about these things. So they were like, okay, cool. So I found this video randomly. I found this page called Conscious Discipline, which is very similar to the pages on conscious parenting. And there was this woman, and she was talking about the brain state model, right? So one of the things about our brain is we have like our three parts of our brain, right? We have the survival brain, we have the emotional brain, and we have the executive brain, right? And it goes this way, right? And so she was talking about how in communicating, she said every behavior is a communication, right? In your children. And every behavior in an adult is a communication, right? Now, she was like, depending upon what state of the brain that you are in or they are in, determines what skills they have to communicate in that moment, right? So if you're in your survival brain, you don't have any skills, right? We're born with our survival brain, right? So if you think about a baby, right? Babies cannot communicate. They just cry, they just act out, right? And when you're in your survival brain, what the question your brain is asking in order to move to the next state of your brain is, am I loved? Right? So you need to feel like you're loved in order to move to your emotional state of your brain. Or move up a level. And she talked about the emotional state of the brain, where that usually turns on in a child when they're like maybe 1 or 2. And she was like, you can tell when they start saying, this is mine or no, right? And in an emotional state, you have a little bit more to communicate, but sometimes what you're communicating is not helpful, right? Because you're emotional. So you may lash out. You may say things you don't mean. right? Because you're communicating from an emotional state. And so you have a little bit more skills, but not as much as you need to communicate from a more aware place. And the question that your brain is asking in order to move up to the executive brain is, am I valuable? Right? Am I valued by this person? Right? A lot of times I was in the comments of some posts on Instagram this weekend, and you know, people be real offended in the comments, y'all. Like, I was like, honey, is this even about you? Like, why? But all of these people are responding from an emotional state. And a lot of times what I was thinking about, whenever you're in an emotional state, you can make something that is completely not about you all about you. Right? And so then she talked about the executive brain, which is your prefrontal. And she was like, when you're up there, you can actually think logically and actually be able to solve problems and communicate well. And so she said that whenever you are dealing with someone, right, because every behavior is communication, it's important to think about what state of the brain they're in. Right? Especially when you're communicating with your children. So she was like, when your children are having a tantrum, right, they can be in emotional or they can be a survival. And so they cannot deal with your logic right now. Right? They just need to know that they are loved and that you value them. And once they can feel that, then they can move up to the executive part of their brain and actually talk about some things. Right? So one of the things they talk about is disciplining once they're in the executive part of their brain, right? But I was just thinking about us adults. I was like, this is good for the children. However, these adults, because a lot of us, of course, were not trained, do not have skills to help move ourselves naturally to the front. We making decisions from back here. We're making decisions from our emotions, right? And we're not paying attention to it. So one of the things that she talked about was, she said she had she was an administrator. She had a teacher come in. I'm not a teacher. She had a parent come in, and the parent came in like, look, I'm either going to bust somebody in the head up in here, or I'm taking my child out of this school. Right. And she was like, if she didn't have the skills, she would be responding from her emotional brain, because she like, well, you're not going to come in here and talk to me like this. Right. Or she was like, I might say to them, well, maybe this isn't the program for you. Right. So she was like, a really nice way of being like, can you just leave? She was like, but because she knew that this woman was in her emotional brain, or she was in her survival brain, she was like, she was able to have a conversation with her and say, you know, what about this program doesn't feel safe for you or your child? Right. And have a much better conversation and able to help move her up to her executive brain, right? So that they could communicate, solve the problem, and move on, right? And then she said she had a teacher who was in there, the teacher for the child, and she was like, yes, that was a good meeting. And the teacher's in there crying. And she's like, this was a good meeting. Like, what the heck? Like, and she's like, the teacher is like, does she not see how much work I put in with this child and how much I've been trying to help them? And she was like, if I didn't have the skills, I'd be like, girl, what are you crying about? The girl is happy. Why are we talking about? And she was like, but the teacher is in her emotional brain. And what she wants to know is, does this parent value me? Does she value the work that I'm doing with her child? Like, I'm really putting in effort. So she was like, she had to talk to the teacher and be like, your work is seen. Your work is heard. Like, this is not about you, right? This is something separate. This is not about the work that you're doing. You're doing a great job. And I was just like, yo, one of my biggest takeaways from that is to, when I'm dealing with my children, but also when I'm dealing with people in general, to think about what state of the brain they're in and what question their brain is asking in that state, so that I can answer that question, move them up to the executive brain so that we can actually solve the problem. So that's what I learned last week.
That's good. I like the questions, like the question that the brain is asking. Am I loved? Am I valued? That value piece would definitely trigger whatever any number of emotions, right? It could trigger anger, it can trigger sadness, it can trigger
Mm-hmm.
disappointment, just like not feeling valued. So that's a beautiful question um, to think about answering anytime you're responding, right?
Yes.
To
Yes.
even just say, we want you here, we want your child here, you know, we value, even saying the word, we value how much, you guys bring to the table, even when you're
Mm-hmm.
talking to someone, you're having a disagreement with a friend, just be like, girl, I love you. I
Right.
value your space in my life. And we're going to get a moment to get through that. But I want to let you know that I hear you. Right. Like
Mm-hmm.
before even trying to respond and jump to like the executive logic piece. I think, I
Yes.
don't know if we talked about this here. I think we did. But I saw a video once that was like, honesty is required, but honesty has a time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when a person is in a place of emotions, you can't meet them with logic. You have to meet emotions with emotions, and then you move to what you call the executive function of the brain, and to discuss logic. So
Mm-hmm.
it definitely marry or mirrors the two are mirroring each other. But I like that question of, am I valued? Because I think even when you were talking about babies do communicate, but they communicate from a survival perspective. They
Yep.
cry when they're hungry, they cry when they're wet,
Yep.
and that's it. They have
That's
one,
it.
they just cry. They cry
And
when
they
they're
were
hungry.
like, that's the survival brain is fight, flight, or freeze. So that's
Yeah,
one of the things you're gonna do. You're gonna fight, you're gonna run, or you just gonna shut down.
yeah. And fawn is the fourth one. But moving up, like I feel like many of us are in the emotional space. Like usually when we're responding, like if you're angry, you're in the emotional space. You're not in logic. You're not in
Mm-mm.
executive function. You're not
Mm-mm.
thinking about it. And I know I get in trouble a lot because I move through that emotional state real fast. I don't spend no time over there. I go straight to executive function. But if the person I'm talking to is in the emotional space,
It don't
then
matter.
sis, I know you think you just won because you an executive, but
You
baby, you got
did.
to bring it on back. Bring it on back. So no, that's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true for me too. I am straight up going to the executive now.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is also, um, it's important because I go to my executive immediately, but sometimes your executive might not be fully clear if you have any emotions,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because sometimes it may be ruled by your emotion. It makes me think about what people be what's it called? What we call it, corporate cuss out. Like when you send an
Oh,
email to somebody,
right.
you be like, you real executive, honey. You solving the problem. However, it's
The
just
emotion.
about a whole lot of emotion. Like,
Yeah.
so it made me think what the Kermit Frog mean, where he would just be like, typing, honey. I got something for that. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. That's
Eve.
I have so many comments, but not the time. Whew, I'm still so stuck at everything you're saying. I feel like I forgot what I felt like I learned last week. Um, but I feel like for me, I feel like I live and was birthed in my emotional state. um, and I learned how to produce the executive state. Um, I feel like I live in a world where people uh, are not too in tapped with understanding their emotions and being able to communicate their emotions clearly. So even though a lot of people can live in their emotional state to me is like to have no emotion. While me, I like to express all my emotions and to actually like process them and go through them and talk them out. I feel like yeah. So I don't know. That I digress. But that was amazing. I have so many questions. But
Well,
I
yeah,
feel
as
like
you're saying that they're not in emotional, they're in survival. When you're
oh
emotional, you can speak, right? You have the skill to speak. When you are in freeze, you're in survival because you're not speaking. You have nothing to say. You can't do. You can't.
okay, all right then. That actually gave me a lot of clarity. I just realized last week I had a lot of survival moments, and it just come to a place where you have to sit down and think like if I keep getting if I keep putting myself in this state, like what is going on with my environment? Like I need to change something about my environment, because then I don't want to uh when I'm like coming out of my emotional state, I'm realizing like I'm choosing a lot of emotions that are not truly at like the best frequency for me and myself and the other party, which then goes to say like, should I truly be here? Like, is this truly the environment that I need to be in? So, yeah,
Well,
I
remember the
don't.
question. The question is, are you safe?
Nope.
That's the answer. If you're in survival, if you're down here, you have to feel safe to come up. So
Mm-hmm.
you ask like, what about this does not feel safe?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think, I think for me, like what I learned last week is uh that I'm proud of myself for finding the courage and the strength to continue to be vulnerable and open up and be brave and find better ways to like communicate, do business, do work, love better. But there comes a point in time where you have to actually, again, in terms of the environment, actually figure out like, is it even worth it for me to pour my vulnerability, my courageousness, and my bravery in certain spaces? Especially if we keep noticing the same results keep happening. So like I'm noticing like be faster. It's okay to like continue like opening up and whatnot, but there comes a certain point where like you can't keep pouring yourself in a place where like the soil is truly dead. Like move on. Like move on and know that it's okay to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely what I learned.
Mm-hmm. Amen to
Because I
that.
don't because I don't want, because I realized I was getting upset with myself for like continually to that I continuously allowed myself to be brave and courageous. But I just had to tell myself like, you don't have to feel sorry for that. You just need to take personal responsibility and like realizing that maybe it just wasn't the right place for you to do it in, like to be brave and courageous. There's certain
Right.
places like you pick and choose your battles. Like
Right.
some things are just truly not worth it. Mm-hmm.
Truth. This is the truth. Somebody, I saw a meme. Was it a meme? Talk about I'm not letting what is that? I'm not letting nobody stress me, especially nobody's son. Like,
Oh, I'm done.
I was like, I can't. I can't. Okay.
I love it.
Okay. Thanks. All righty. If you're here, drop a hey, hey,
What
girl
I
in the
learned.
chat.
Excuse me.
Okay. Oh wait, what?
I didn't say what I learned. I
Oh,
just
my bad. Go
explained
ahead.
what you learned. Sometimes it's hard to put it all together because you be learning different parts and pieces, and then somehow you got to make it all make sense. I was trying to make it make sense. So I think I discussed before learning how limiting our definition of certain words are. Before we talked about worthy and how I would never say I'm not worthy, but
Oh,
me
right.
questioning whether or not someone will pay my price is a way of saying I'm not worthy.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, the word that I needed to redefine for myself was abundance. Now I 100% believe in abundance. I live an abundant lifestyle, but there are times where I don't realize that I'm not acting out of abundance, that I'm acting out of scarcity. And it showed up for me last week in feeling like, now that the kids are gone, I need to get all the things done right now, immediately. And
You're
like
about to say
they gone now, girl, do the work. And literally Tuesday, I could not get out of the bed. A lot of things going on emotionally, and really needed to just rest. And I'm thankful for the friends that be like, girl, lay down. Like, I literally had a friend tell me, you can't work till Thursday. And I was like, girl, what? She's like, rest is part of your work. But in that space, I'm reading Creating Money. And even in the book, it talks about abundance from a larger perspective. But the thing that kind of pulled it all together, I was watching a video and they were talking about the various forms of abundance and not allowing money to be the only measure of abundance that you are tying value to.
Mm-hmm.
And the basis is that you have everything that you need at all times. You will always have everything that you need. And if you limit yourself to the money being the thing that you need, then you're not allowing space for abundance in other areas, because in that moment, what you may need is an abundant, other things that count as abundance are like synchronicity, like where you happen to be at the right place at the right time, talking to the right person. Like that is a form of abundance that gets you to whatever, the next conversation or the next opportunity. That counts as abundance. Your knowledge or your gift, whatever gift it is that you have, that is a form of abundance. And as you're growing in that area, it will show up at the right time. And so understanding that if I am trying to rush to get the work done, it's because I'm operating from a scarcity mindset, and I'm not truly allowing space for abundance to show up in areas because I'm focusing on the money. And there, abundance has a formula for everything that you need, right? In this season, it may be a little bit of money, a lot of synchronicity, and even a little bit of gift, or maybe a lot of gift. At different times, you're going to need different pieces of the abundance puzzle. And so don't limit your thinking of abundance to just money. There's so many other ways to experience abundance, but one, you have to believe that you have everything that you need, and you're always going to have everything that you need exactly when you need it. And then you can allow space for those needs to be met in a number of different ways. So yeah, I had to redefine abundance this past week, or at least acknowledge that I wasn't acting from a space of abundance, but from a place of scarcity, and allow myself time to rest by truly trusting and believing that, my abundance in the right measure will come exactly at the right time.
This is good. Because as I'm thinking about scarcity, like scarcity is tied to I don't have enough of whatever it is, right? And there are other areas other than just money that you can feel like you don't have enough of it in, right? Like you don't have enough energy, you don't have enough time, right? You just enough sleep, like just all the things, right? And so allowing ourselves to be able to consider those areas as abundance, as abundant spaces as well. And I know that, with regard to, you get more of what you see, right? And more of what you accept. So in thinking like I have an abundance of time, there's a coach that I follow, Brooke Castillo, and she talks about, and she's like, she has like a $50 million business, right? Whole teams, all kind of stuff. And she was like, I hate when people tell me I know you're busy. And she's like, I'm not busy. I have all the time I need to do everything I need to do. And I was like, interesting. But that's an amazing way to think with regard to an abundance of time. Like she got 2 kids, she got, ex-husband, a whole business, a whole boo, like, but she does not view her time that way. It's busy. Like she's like, I'm not busy.
Yeah. So, and even I like when you were talking about what you choose to see and what you choose to accept. So as opposed to thinking about what you didn't have enough energy to do, like literally put it in the affirmative and say, I had enough energy to do these 5 things today.
Yes.
And that's where it stops. Don't judge yourself about what you think you didn't have enough energy to do, because you're not seeing what you actually did. So
yes.
Yeah, I like that.
This is true. And that brings me to my word last week, which was rest. Okay. Like I did get way more rest last week than I had ever expected. I did not go to bed as early as I wanted to every night, but I went to bed early. I think 4 nights, 4 of the 7 nights. Last night I was up, child. I was like, I ain't going to bed. The other night Z called me. I was like, girl, I'm staying up. But I went to bed 20 minutes later. So, but what I realized was, speaking of different areas, rest can look like sleep, and rest can also look like not doing much in your day. Right? Like just like your friend was saying, you are not allowed to work. That is a form of rest. And so I was doing a lot of that last week because my children were here, and I just like, if I need energy to parent, and I do not have energy to parent and to work. So I was doing learning, because learning does not require energy for me. But I'm really excited to do more resting this week and actually going to bed. Like, I started a book club after dark on my Instagram. And it is a way of making me read to wind myself down and then go to bed, right? Because I need the accountability. So then in addition to that, my goals for last week was to have fun with my friends and fun with my girls. And I did both. These children, honey, they had a blast. We was at something almost every single day. It is funny because Saturday we went to this cookout. It wasn't a cookout. I thought it was a festival. We got there. It was me and my mama. And my mama talking about, oh, this the Langford Chapel cookout. And she understands that because we are from a town that is this big and our church is this big. Right? So our cookout is literally just like, 10 to 12 people, a table, and some sterners. And yes, that's what we said. I was like, this is not a festival. Like, anywho, the girls had fun. The other things were high value referrals and high value partnerships. I have so many meetings this week. Portia, I have so many meetings this week. I'm excited. Around referrals, around partnerships. So I was doing a lot of prospecting, not really prospecting, just reconnecting with people and getting them on my calendar for this week. Poplin. Y'all, I had Poplin, purge, and pantry. I did not do the pantry. This food is still here. But I did purge my clothes. I had Poplin come wash 6 loads, which is basically the Uber for laundry. I told Tawana, I don't care how, but we're going to put that in the budget. I don't even know how, but it's going in the budget. Because it was $105 for 6 loads and 2 comforters. That's less than the laundromat. So I was like, listen, we ain't always going to send 6 loads. We can spend $56 on this. And I
can't believe you're just not on that. I thought man, this takeout service, when I was in New York, I never did my own laundry.
Girl.
Never. Like, never.
Did they come pick it up?
No, they didn't come pick it up.
Oh, okay.
I had to drop it off around the corner.
Yeah, we're taking it over to the laundromat, but these people come pick it up. And they will take your detergent for you and use your detergent.
You can leave your detergent. But yeah, that's a game changer.
What? Child, never again shall I do a laundry. And never again shall my husband, because I wasn't doing laundry anyway. He was. So I did not prep for mom's off duty, but I did go to bed. So I got, 5 of the 6 things popping last week. Z, how about you? Your word was 10x last week.
Mentally, yes.
You wrote 10x. That word, but Tasia was like, no from jump. Okay.
Right. She shut it down.
Right.
She shut it down.
10x, no.
But I can't remember where I was in the 10x jump or realizations last week. I think I talked about going to college, being a 10x jump, like deciding which school I was going to, only applying to one, doing the required things to get the full scholarship, whatever. And I also think I talked about switching from accounting into sales and marketing. I realized I had another 10x jump, and this is more so, I don't know that I wouldn't have considered it a 10x jump, even though it was more so around manifesting, where I literally 3 months after being promoted to director, my boss said to me, you're going to be the next person promoted to vice president. And I was like, girl, like, I didn't think I was going to make it to director. So like, can we just chill out? And then within, 30 to 90 days from that, we were talking, and she was like, if you could design this department, what would it look like? And I remember her writing out on she wrote on the whiteboard what I, dictated to her. And that was in 2017. And in 2021, almost the exact thing that I had written out came to pass. The only little difference was one person had left the organization, but what I saw in terms of taking a manager and promoting them to director and having them support me, literally everything that I wrote out on that board happened. And it just like surprised me that I've done this before. Like, girl, you've been manifesting like big
Yeah.
stuff, like impossible things for some people, how some people would see it. So you can continue to do that. So I think that counts as 10x, like the awareness that you've been doing it. So I will give myself credit for being in a 10x space and continuing to do things to support that. I'm continuing to read Creating Money, which is again is all about attracting abundance in all the various forms. So that counts as 10x work. Now, when we get down to these tasks, now, I was supposed to work on the expanded curriculum. Didn't even. I did think about it, but I didn't do anything for it. Prospecting. There was no prospecting last week. Not beyond. Yeah, no. Yeah, no prospecting last week. Purging. I did start purging, starting with my closet. It is not done. It gets worse before it gets better. But there
Yeah.
were a lot of things that I took out. And one of my friends that said she wanted to come shop my closet. And I was like, girl, ain't nothing in there because everything that's in there I don't want. But as I actually pulled things out, I was like, oh, there's some cute stuff in here that either I just don't wear anymore or it doesn't fit that will be good for somebody else. So I'm excited about that. Um, did I work out? No, not like in the traditional sense. I did a lot of walking just because I was out, went to regionals and things like that. But I do want to call in the fact that I didn't put on my list, but I said I was looking at it, thinking about marketing of my retreat. And someone reached out to my business partner about us hosting a retreat for them. So
Come on.
again, that's 10x. Like I was
Yes.
like, I'm just gonna put it on there. I'm not
Yes.
stressed about it. I'm not worried about it. And boom, it came up. So
Yes.
if you see something, say something. If you see something visually, if
Right.
something comes up in your spirit, say it,
Mhm.
put it out there because you never know how, like you may be attracting it. And that's probably why it's, kind of in your spirit. So that was my task list for last week.
Eve, I know you weren't on the call last week, but did you get your stuff done last week?
I'll be quiet. Yeah. So I have on here. My word was compassionate. Um, self care. The don't you ever doubt us moments. Eat veggies. Which means eat veggies, movement, and do some pleasure eating. Um, I've been doing relatively well with that. Getting my first phase of research done for the contract that I'm on. Um, my report and first research deliverable supposed to be getting sent to the comms team next week for publication. So I'm doing writing. So I finished like almost all my validation calls and gonna be pushing that forward and been getting some really good feedback from people about like, oh, what you are creating is gonna have valuable contributions to the space. So I'm excited. Once it gets published, I will share more what it is. But it's pretty big. I think it's pretty big. It's pretty big. Um Screening more potential tenants for the real estate situation for the property back in Philly. That's been kind of not going as well as I thought. Hopefully, when I get back, it'll be better. Um, Not as many people looking for spaces. It's fine. I'm very much okay with it. But did get a win where I did get 30K worth of funding from a line of credit, so that's
Yes,
being
Lord.
used to like that's being used to like basically consolidate real estate debt um and take care of things until a tenant comes in. So that was amazing. And then I have on here also two connection calls for like speaking engagement, mentors, or paid contracts. Um, I've actually been securing some calls. I have some calls to this week, which I'm really excited about for potential gigs. Um, and then for the whole mentor situation, just going through the process of finding a really good mentor, but talking to a lot of good people in my space. So that feels good. Planning a trip to a West African country. I'm not gonna have time to do that, so scratching that off. And visiting the farm. Probably, hopefully, we'll go before I leave. That's what I have. So I think I did relatively okay. Um, yeah, yeah.
Fabulous. Portia, you want to drop your stuff in the chat for last week? I know you were also on baby duty with the children at the house. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So what y'all goes for this week? I'm kind of mapping mine out now.
I actually have mine, so I feel like I'm winning the
Good
week
job, girl. You on
already.
top. Go ahead, child, because I got none.
So number one this week is prospecting. I'm gonna be outside all week this week, and I'm so
Come
excited
on.
about it.
Mhm.
And I know that that's usually where I make my connections. So I'm excited about the prospecting. Number two, I'm making goal charts. One is for um business revenue. I'm trying to make my way to 1 million and hit a
Come on.
100,000 by the end of the year. So I want to chart it, like you would do back in the day in school, whether you were doing a fundraiser or trying to get test scores up or whatever. When they have like the thermometer with the like different levels on it. So I bought two of those. I'm gonna have one in my office and one in my room so that I can continually see that. I'm going to create a debt payoff chart.
Mm-hmm.
And then I am creating affirmation charts to just have around the house. Like if you come to my house in the next 5 days or later, you will see all of the affirmations in random places because just
Yes.
trying to keep the mind sharp. So
Yes.
that all goes under my goal charts. Next, I am going to create an avoidance board. So I saw this online. This lady had all of these tasks that she knew she needed to create or that she needed to do, but she for some reason was stuck and couldn't get them done. So she literally wrote them all on little post-it notes and then randomly numbered them. And she would allow her husband or her friends to pick a number, and whatever number they picked, that was a task she had to complete. So I'm going to do that because there are a number of things. Like I feel like we always have great ideas. We know what we're supposed to do, but getting it done sometimes is hard. So I'm going to create an avoidance board and work and
Why is
start
it called an avoidance board?
because it's the task that I've been avoiding,
Oh, okay.
like
Okay.
my taxes.
Oh Lord, I forgot, girl. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, been avoiding. I remember me, you, and Eve talking about getting our taxes done. I know Eve got hers done.
Listen, I said I'll never do mine till October anyway.
So
To the point my CPA just be like, I'm gonna just go ahead and put your extension in, period, because I already know it ain't gonna be ready.
so yeah.
So, but I need to
Uh,
be so that's why I need to get it in before October.
So yeah, my taxes will go on the avoidance board, but it is the first task that I'm doing myself. Like, girl, hey, we're gonna start this thing off
Right.
right.
We're gonna start this thing
What
all
you doing?
right with
Your
the text.
tax, okay? Let's do that. So that's three. Number four, I'm literally trying to purge my entire house. I'm still working on the my closet, but my goal is to like tackle an area, like even if it's just like the little dish that's on my bathroom sink that has like all of this random jewelry, like everything needs to be reviewed and purged. So purging is big. That's going to be on there for the whole summer. And I'm keeping working out on there because it feels good to check that off my list.
Yes.
So those are my
okay.
5.
Yes. I love it. Okay. Portia said she didn't pin anything for last week, but continued plenty of rest, yes, and several naps, absolutely. Listen, when these children at the house, you got to rest and nap. Almost finished reading. Rest is. Oh, I need to put that at the top. I forgot. That's the book that I was telling you about. Z, that the nap ministry. The
Oh
girl.
yeah.
That's the book I was talking about. Rest is resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Put that down because I think I want to read that too. I think that might be on the next book club after dark list. And LinkedIn Connects. Fabulous. That's prospecting.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Yeah, okay, they're both of them. I'm gonna put sponsorship. No. Okay, yeah. And I'm gonna put okay, so right now I feel like I want to put one more thing on here. But right now, I put what I'm calling in this week is an amazing Moms Off Duty. We have the second Moms Off Duty on Sunday, Moms Off Duty June, which I'm super excited about. So I need to prepare for that. For Sunday, the permits for this property being released. Okay, we need a permit so we can restart the rehab. I'm pretty sure they're going to be released this week because we already paid for the deposit and the revenue check was complete. We paid the money we need to pay there. So I think we're just waiting for them to actually check it off. So I expect them to be this week. High value referrals. I have a lot of calls this week with people in my network talk about referring me. I also am going to have a call with one of my old coworkers, one of my old colleagues, who I want to refer me to the VP at the place where my new job. So I'm expecting high value referrals, also high value partnerships. I want to work with some people. Like there's a girl who I've been talking to on Instagram. She's having her very first conference in Prince George's County, Maryland, and it is a conference for moms. And I was like, girl, I need to be at this conference. She just released speaker application on like yesterday. I was like, girl, come on. I need to be there.
Yes.
So yeah. So we're gonna talk to her this week. And I also put high level rest. Okay. I'm still rest. I'm gonna be doing my winding down because I realize I really need to. I know I need to wind down. Otherwise, when I get into bed, even if I'm laying there, I ain't gonna go to sleep for 45 minutes. So yes, so I'll be doing that as well. I think that's it. I want to put something around here on the financial front, but I can't think of it yet. So Eve, you go ahead. I need some more time to think about this.
Yeah, of course. So I have on here for self-care, dance and reading and swimming. Those are the 3 activities that I want to be doing while I'm outside. Yeah, dancing, reading, and swimming. That's what I want to do. Yes. Yeah, I go to a place called Afro Kiko Complex. That's near like Nima Kanda, like and also to where the president resides. And what Wednesdays and Thursdays, it's the you leave it all on the floor. Leave it all on the floor. Okay, it's so good. It's so good. And then yeah, just more reading and just swimming as like my exercise and stuff like that. I'm in a new place right now and they have like 3 pools, so I'm going in every single one of them.
Yes.
And then for me, really, like to be quite honest, like I'm keeping my list very short, and I'm trying to tell myself that it's perfectly okay to do so because like my last week when I get back to the States, like I'm gonna be hitting the ground running with all the things. So phase 1 research published. So making sure that the research is ready to go and ready to get published by the end of this week is my goal before leaving. And then continue with all the things with the connection calls in regards to like speaking engagement, mentors, paid contracts, just speaking truth and opening my mouth in a way that like makes sense to me. It's nothing too aggressive, but I do have a few calls lined up, so that makes me feel good. Yeah, there is something around real estate that I have because I potentially was thinking about selling my property and someone was supposed to get back to me on how much I could get for selling it. So yeah, that's kind of like a question mark in regards to like a thing to do because I don't think there'll be nothing to do with it. I just gotta process that information and figure out how I want to move next. But yeah, that's mine.
So I'm also putting on mine valuable sales conversations. I'm focusing on, I think I was talking about this last week, I'm focusing on learning the skill of sales. And what I realized is sales conversations don't have to happen on the sales call. Like they're always happening, right? You're selling in your content, you're selling in your story, you're selling when you're having conversations with people, you're selling in an interview. So I want to be able to have more of these conversations so that I can practice and get more practice in doing it. So yes, that is the last thing I'll add to my list of things that I'm calling in. All right, so the word of the week. Anyone? Oh, Portia, put your goals for the weekend down. Put your goals for the weekend.
My word for the week is abundance in every form. Abundance.
Yes, I love it.
I don't have much from the conversation that was happening earlier today, but the one valued really stuck to me.
Value?
Um, yeah, valued. So I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, but more specifically, like, do I value myself to make sure that, um, value myself to know if I'm feeling safe or not in regards to that, like seen, heard, elevated, all of the things. Like, do I value myself? It's really about how I value myself, but also want to know if I am being valued. I feel like I'm becoming a validation hoe. And I think I'm becoming okay with it. Like, I want validation. I want validation. Like,
Wow.
validate me.
Yeah, I can't.
But yeah, valued for
That's
sure.
so crazy, Eve, because when you said that, I was literally looking at my list and I have the word value on here so many times. So I was like, I
Yep.
was thinking, I was like, maybe my word should be value. And then you were like, value. I was like, did you say value?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Um,
I wrote it. I literally wrote it down like since the beginning, and then I was like, okay, then that's what it is from the conversation from earlier. I'm like,
uh,
that's it.
I don't know. Let's look at Portia's goals for the week. Self-care, exercising 2 to 3 times. Schedule massage. Yes.
Mm.
Business side, secure a date and location for Black and pregnant Philly. Yes. Finish CLC recertification. Yes. And 3 to 5 podcast pitching. That's what, yes. 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 I think I'm going to be shifting Ellie onto just that alone. I love it. I don't know about my word this week. I think, hmm,
Mm.
you know what? I think for some reason, I need to look this word up. The word that I'm thinking about is poised.
Mm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. Self assured, composed, self controlled, right? Having a composed and self assured manner. That is what I'm going with this week because I'm having a lot of conversations this week
Mm.
about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I'm asking
Mm-hmm.
people for help. I'm asking for people for support. I'm going to be, asking for speaking opportunities and partnerships and all of these things. And I think for me, something that's going to be really important is just to be poised in all of these conversations and just also in throughout my week. Um, so I'm going to go with that.
Like it.
Also, I feel like poised is a being, whereas I feel like focusing on this allows me to release the need to be prepared.
Yes. God.
Right? Like, just I don't need to be prepared. I'm poised and ready for it for any conversation. Right. So yes, that is gonna be our word for the week. Portia, what's your word for the week, girl? Um, yes. If you're watching this on the replay, drop your biggest takeaway because we was dropping the gems today on what we learned last week. Okay. Also, let us know
Right.
what you're learning on this journey. Um, I'm reading the book. What's it called? Remaining You while raising them, and she talks about how
Mm.
when you're raising kids, you have to raise them and raise yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
it just made me think about how like growth is not guaranteed just because you're getting older. Like you have to be intentional about your growth, and I feel like that's something that we do. That we're very intentional about our growth. That's why every week we are learning something and reflecting on what we learned, right? So yes, these are the things.
Yes.
All right, Portia, drop your word in the chat and we will roll out of here in a bit. Yes, the state of being. I had to be in it. Okay. That's that good old what is it? Manifestation, right? Just be the person. I'm so excited about going outside, y'all, and just going for a walk, even though it's been blazing. I don't know about where y'all at, but baby,
it's hot. It's hot.
It's been 90, but it feels like 102 out here. Yes. Okay, pursue. I like it. I like it. Portia, I'm gonna start putting your word on here too. Pursue. On my list of the words, because you the fourth member of this tribe, okay? Come on, baby. Next time we're just gonna bring you on camera, girl. Like all right, ladies. Y'all have a great week. We will see y'all next Monday. Bye.